Hey, how you doing, everybody out there in interweb land? This is Tony from 16 Corner, and yes, it's been a while. It has been quite a while since I've done a live lesson, and I'm glad to be back to help you guys out become better players. It would be a great idea to have us all be able to play really good and play to our potential, play songs that we like and love, and that's what I'm here to help you out to do. Today we're going to get into some solos, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. I just want to say thank you for stopping on by if you're in the live stream, and if you are coming on here after today, thank you again too. It's glad to have you here. I hope that you find that what you find here is helpful for you, and that will work out for you and help you become a better player. That's really my goal. That's why I teach guitar to all kinds of people of all kinds of different skill levels. Whether they be on acoustic guitar, electric guitar, just want to play rhythm, just want to play their favorite songs, or they want to play lead guitar solos. So today we're going to talk about the lead guitar solo part. That's going to be today's a little lesson here. And just so you know, too, down below in the description below, and I didn't get to it, so I will have it when this lesson is over. In the lessons below, I will put in a couple of links. One regarding free online lessons. I do have some online lessons in my schedule. Open left. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that are available. So those will be in the link below. You can check that out and come on in. We can give you the first one for free. See if you like it. See if this works out for you. If it doesn't, no big deal. If it does, we'll try a couple more. If those don't work, we refund it all back to you. So it's really a can't lose proposition there. I think in person, face-to-face lessons like online are actually better. But hopefully this will give you a good start. That's what I'm here for, here to help you out and also to become good players. Also down there, I'm going to have a couple other links. I'm going to have the 16 Corner tab library, all kinds of tabs. Some of these, I'm going to show you 3 solos. I know one for sure is in there. I don't have the other 2 yet, but they will be there. It's an ongoing, this 16 Corner tab library. It's just an ongoing process. Just constantly I'm editing stuff and adding stuff in. And usually it could either be because I feel like it, or 2, it's because maybe some student wants to learn a song and I got to tab it. So I'll put that in there too. So it's an ongoing process. And once you subscribe to it and you get into that tab library, you're in it for life, and just whatever's added in there, you go ahead, take it, download it, do whatever you want with it. It's hopefully, like I said, it'll help you become a better player. That's what I'm here for, to help you guys out do that. So hopefully you will end this lesson, this live guitar lesson, feeling a little bit more empowered and a little bit more encouraged that you can become a better player, all right, in what you're doing. So we're going to tackle all kinds of levels here of guitar. But the bottom level here is this. We're going to have to know how to put our fingers on those strings and play our scales and stuff. Maybe not necessarily all the scales. Pentatonic's really good. You're going to kind of need that for this. All right. So that's a lesson that you're going to need to tackle. I know I have a few of them on my YouTube channel. And if there's anything more that you want to know, I will, of course, put them out there on the YouTube land, on the YouTube interwebs thing. Okay, so we'll make sure that happens too. So that's what we're going to get into as well. So anyway, I hope my signal's good too. I'm out here in Southwest Michigan. The heat is it's more humid, but it is warm here. Forgive the air conditioning in the background. It's a little bit on the noisy side, but you got to stay cool, man. So we're going to have some air conditioning. So that's kind of where we're going to sit with that. So a little bit of that's going to, just hopefully you can be okay in dealing with that. Also, I think that's about it. So I think we should get started. What do you think? All right. So here's what we're going to do. And depending on your skill level, it's going to depend on how much you're going to want to tackle here. Okay. So we're going to, you can take this as far as your skill level will allow you to go. Okay, so in other words, if I show you just one little solo riff for the bend, and that's really it, that's like, hey, Tony, that's as far as I can go, and that's as far as you go. And don't feel like if you miss out on the other ones, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. I can't do it. No, it's just where you are. Okay, we all are there. We've all been there. Learn that part. This video will be on YouTube for as long as YouTube's around, so you can always come back to it and grab a couple of the other solos that I'm going to have in here. The last one is going to be pretty more involved, so you can always come back to that. I don't expect you to get everything like right now, right at this moment, but I'm going to give you enough information and give you a couple of some solos here that's going to work on those string bends, because I know that those string bends can really be tricky for a lot of you on the electric guitar. And even for some of you on acoustic. I know acoustic isn't like normally known for string bending, but there is string bending on acoustic, believe it or not. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I get to the solos, and I'll talk about those in just a second, is we want to make sure that we have some fundamentals down on a guitar solo. So I'm going to get you a little dizzy for like about 5 seconds here, move the camera over, and give you a close-up of where my left hand is, okay? So hopefully that's okay with you guys. So what we're going to talk about here, and it's, again, I'm just going to only spend a short amount of time on this. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube. I have it, all kinds of people on how to bend strings. But we've got to go over this very simple fundamental here before we get started, okay? So here we go, all right? So you can put a timer on it. I got a timer here. It'll take 3 minutes. I'm going to show you this, all right? So when you're bending your strings, okay, if you're bending single notes, you're going to want to have to grab the neck, okay? And I'm going to use this note right here, okay? I'm on the 7th fret in case you're looking. And what we want to do is the motion that bends that string is in the wrist. It's in the fingers, but you don't want to be pushing your fingers like this. Now, this is for single notes. I'm going to get to another form in the last minute here. But we want to be able to grab the note like this. Let's say it's right here, and I'm going to bend. I'm going to end up bending with my ring finger, and I have these fingers kind of close together to kind of like support each other. And notice that I have my thumb. It's around the back of the neck here. Let me try and see if I can get you. If you can see that. See, I'm grabbing the neck and the back here. All right, and watch now how my wrist goes. Okay, again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I want you to just kind of see what this is. I'm going to bend that wrist. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of twisting that wrist, grabbing this necklace a little bit tighter just to get that, added leverage, and I'm bending that string. Okay, now you don't see, now my fingers are pushing that string, but I'm using my wrist. My wrist is really what's making that motion happen. Okay, I'm not doing this without the wrist or doing this with the wrist. This is really difficult to play. Now, the exception to that, and two of the riffs I'm going to show you are going to require this, is you won't have your hand like this. When you have multiple strings in a riff, you are going to bring your thumb down, okay, down here, and then you're going to give your fingers bending. Now, even if I do this, and you'll see in couple of the riffs that I'm going to show you in a second, okay, you'll still see that I'm using my wrist to push. Okay, now this is, like I said, this is going to be a multiple note solo. I'll show you this in just a second. And but if I'm doing this, all right, I'm still bending that. I'm not doing it just with the fingers. All right, that becomes really super difficult to do. And if you are struggling and that's what you're doing, that's probably why you're struggling. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're grabbing that neck for a lot of these single note riffs. And then if we do a couple of these multiple note riffs here, we want to make sure that if we do bring that thumb down, we're using the finger. Now, you notice the fingers are pushing, but we are adding the wrist to it, okay? Because I have, usually with these multiple note things, I have at least, like, for example, the pointer finger is already pressing down. So it's adding a little bit of leverage, that and the thumb, as I make a solo. It's kind of like something like this. So I'm bending from here to this note, okay? And then so we're going to probably want to just do it this way here. But the wrist is still involved, okay? We're pushing with the fingers here. But if single notes, we want to keep it like this, all right? So that's my quick 3-minute dissertation. I realize that I moved quickly, but you're going to have to understand that this is something you're going to have to know before you start playing lead guitar licks. Or if you want to try learning lead guitar licks, understand this is a fundamental thing that you're going to have to know. Now, if you want me to give you a more detailed video on this, let me know in the comments below, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, just let me know, and I'll be sure to provide that for you, okay? So that's what I'll do for you. You just let me know if that's something you want, okay? Now, let's get into the licks. All right, so one way I like learning songs, one way I like learning riffs or learning any sort of scale or whatever is by learning a song. Okay, it's one thing to just sit there and do your scales, and you should be doing your scales, by the way. However, what we want to do is, in this case, hey, let's pick some songs where we can actually learn some technique. Okay, we want to try and learn some technique here and work on our bending of the song. So first one that I'm going to show you, okay, is the beginning to the Cream song, Sunshine of Your Love. I love this one here for bending strings. This one is like phenomenal because you will learn how to bend, first of all, using the wrist, everything the techniques I just showed you, but you're also going to be, learning what's a whole step or a half step bend. Like, hey, Tony, what's that? Okay, so a half step, let's say I want to bend this note right here. Okay, so when I bend that string up a half step, I'm going to bend to this note right here. And then if I want to do a whole step bend, I'm bending to this note, okay? Now, here's the thing, caveat. When you're bending strings and you want to bend to the correct note, it's going to be also, you're also going to have to develop your ear a little bit, all right, as you do this. If you don't get it right away, don't worry about it. Just keep working at it, all right? Because you need to be able to hear a half tone and a half step and a whole step. So how would you do that? Well, there's a couple of ways. Here's a quick down and dirty way that I like to do it. If I want to bend a half step from this note, and this is actually going to be the first note in the solo, is if I want to bend to this note here, so I go back and forth, and then I do the bend. So if I'm a little off, watch, you should be able to hear a little bit off. And I went fast. You're going to probably want to go slower than that, but I'm hearing that. So that's how I can test my half step. And the same thing with the whole step, right? So you're going to go 2 frets up. Do that a few times, right? And then go. All right. So, and if it's wrong, right? It just sounds off. So you want to go slow with that, and that's how you can test your half step and your whole step bend. You're going to need that. So in Sunshine of Your Love, we're going to utilize both of those, okay? And I'm only going to show you the beginning because that's all you need to know right now. If you want to learn the whole thing, I actually got a video on YouTube showing you how to play this whole solo. But I'm just going to give you the beginning of this because if you're working on your solo, this is a good one to work on. So it starts, and first let me play it first. All right, so I'm working with just that right there. That's it. So now I'm working with my my whole step bend and learning how to come back down to the original note and going back up. And you'll notice I added a little extra note here on my little finger. I'll show that in a second. So when you do the bend, all right, you want to first bend the whole step up, and then you come down. Now you don't want to hear it come down. You don't want to hear that. You want to go. And then you're going to stop that note by just slightly lifting your left-hand finger off the fretboard, keeping it on the string as you're going to bring it down, and also have your pick on that string. And that'll kind of mute that string because you don't want to hear it descending. You want to go. All right, those are the first 3 notes in that solo. So you do a whole step. So that's how you do that bend, right? So you're going to bend it up. You hear the bend. Down to the original note. Up, back up. Little finger, which is right here on the 13th fret on the B string. And see how I just bending that up and down. So I'm constantly going to that whole step up, back to the original, back up. Now, just for FYI, and again, you can catch this lesson on my channel, but all right, that's just the beginning, but there's a lot of that stuff going on. And what's cool is that they're slow bends, so you don't have to kind of worry about getting really super fast. Like, oh gosh, I got to play that. I got to be like a phenomenal shredder here. No, it's just going up and down, and this is basically testing your ear. I'm bending up and down a whole step, and you're also working on your technique, making sure in this case you know, we're using the wrist here. Okay, thumbs grabbing around behind the neck, and that's how we're doing our bends. Okay, just like that. Okay, put that, turn the thing off for a little bit. Actually, I'll take my distortion off. All right, so that's riff number 1. Okay, now let's go to riff number 2. Okay, now riff number 2, it's actually used in a lot of songs. I call it the Skinnered Riff. Again, I have a YouTube channel, that YouTube video that actually gets into this as well. But this is a great riff for combining extra notes or extra riffs along with the bend. Now this one right here, they got a lot of in there, so we could spend probably a whole lesson learning a Freebird solo. But I'm just going to focus on one section of it because they play it. It's when the band dun dun, they stop and dun dun, and the guitars are kind of doing this riff. It's this one here. So what do you notice here? First of all, I have my thumb down, right? Because I have multiple strings that are coming right after this. So, all right, so I have to have my hand down, but the pointer finger is bracing on these 2 frets down here. It's kind of like we're barring it. Thumb is down halfway down the neck, okay? Like I said, and then we're doing this bend. So let's focus on the bend before I do the little finger thing. We're doing a whole step bend here, right? All right, and then the rest of this riff is, now if you have this barred here, you're going to automatically hit that note when you, on the E string, if that's the next note. And then you do a pull off with your little finger. Right here. That stays barred the whole entire time in this riff. And because that needs to be barred here with those 2 fingers, you're just pressing down on them. That's why you have to bring the thumb down, because it's really kind of, you can't really, I mean, you can do it, but your hand's all bunched up. All right, so this is a case where you're going to bring it down, but you'll also notice, I'll pull back just a little bit, that I did my wrist too. My wrist did something. See, I'm moving that wrist as I'm also using the fingers, okay? I'm not just using the fingers to bend, okay? If you just use the fingers, it's going to be really tough, okay? It's not that you can't do it. Some players do that. That's fine. That's them. I don't teach it that way. The more you can use the wrist, the better you are in trying to achieve a bend. Okay. So now, so what we want to do here, and I'll take it nice and slow, okay, is you're going to bend the note. Just the way I showed it, and then you repeat. Now, one other important thing here, this has not got nothing to do with string bending, but it's about accomplishing the riff. I'm picking up on the bending string. I'm picking. So, you gotta love the interwebs, don't you? Sorry for that little out of my control. The interwebs and the internets don't like me there. All right, let's go back to it here. I don't want to waste any time on this one. So, what we're doing is we're doing the bend. I'm sorry, I'm not picking down. I said up. And then you're picking down, and then you pick up for the pull off. All right, so that's kind of just a side note here. So up, down, up. So the picking is up, down, up, and then up again. All right, so make sure that when you're doing that riff, you want to make sure that that bend, you want to make sure that from, let's see where I'm at here. I didn't even tell you what frets. This is 17, and we're bending to the 19th fret. So we want to do this. If you're not sure, That's how high you want to bend. So again, like I said, just like with Sunshine of Love, if that's as far as you went, that's as far as you go. But here, same thing. Test that, making sure that those string bends are working the way that they should be. So. All right, so that's the second riff. Now, so if this is as far as you need to go, this is as far as you need to go. All right, don't worry about it. Okay, you've actually, if you've gone this far, you've actually mastered quite a bit. Okay, so now we're going to get to the third one, third riff, and again, as you can tell, I'm kind of doing sort of like beginnings of riffs or just what's classic to that type of that solo. Is the very first part to a Whole Lot of Love. Okay, now there's actually there's a lot of string bending. So tell you what I'll do is I'll play it for those of you that just want to see it and then come back to this and slow it down and take a look at it. But what I'm going to break down is just the first part. Okay, the first part is very, very similar. It's got some similarities. Actually, you know what? Take that back. I'm going to show you the first two parts of this. The first part is very similar to the Skinnered Riff, but then the second one is going to be a little bit different. So, so the beginning to this is this. So that's the solo. So if you want to figure that out, you can slow it down. If those of you who are a little further along on the journey, if you're not further along on the journey, let me break down just a couple parts of that. Okay, the first one is right here. We're in the 12th position. It's the 12th fret right here, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to very, very similar. The beginning of this is very similar to that Skinner riff, so you can already see that there's riffs that come back constantly, right? We're going to go like this. The only difference is we don't do in that solo, there's no pull off. Get off that glare there. There's no pull off. So, and you notice that bend right here, we're bending from the 14th fret on the G string. See how we did that? So there's like 3 times we're making that bend, that whole step bend. So we're going to go bend this note right here, right? Just like we did in that Skinnered riff. We're going to pick those notes rather than pull off. I used to think it was a pull off. When I really was listening to it today, I was like, oh, he's actually picking them. He's not pulling off. So, all right, just one time though. And then you do another bend. And you're going to come down, descend, and pull off. And then you do these 2 notes again. And then bend a whole step. All right. So that's really cool. I mean, because after you're going, you can do that. If you want to be a little pizzazz, is that E chord that you do first. It's right here. So. All right. And if that's all you need to learn, that's all you learn. Okay. Say you did Sunshine of Love and now you did this part here. I would learn, if you're learning it, this is how I learned this solo. This is how I learn a lot of solos. I learn them in sections anyway. I never try to play the whole entire thing. You never want to learn the whole thing all in one shot. Learn it in sections. Generally, and this is not always the case, but generally there's going to be like 4 sections. They usually do them in 4s, but it may not. It may be more. But you try and find a way to divide that up and just work on each section, okay, of the solo. So this would be the first section. All right, so that's the first part of it. The second part is actually way down here on the lower strings. Now this can be really difficult, and if you guys got acoustic guitars, good luck, because it's not going to be easy. You want to play this right here, and we're going to utilize some open strings, okay? So let me play this riff really quick. It's something like that. He's a little his own thing there. But it's basically the gist of this the solo. I'm gonna get my picking hand here too. Basically, the gist of the solo here is we're gonna bend on the 2nd fret right here on the G string, and then we're gonna hit that open E. If you notice, this is kind of like that first riff we showed. It's actually the same notes, just an octave down. So you go just like that. Little finger on the 3rd fret on the B string, and then I'm going off to the open B. When I open E, this note, and then open B, and then I do another bend, and I do a little pull off, and then there's a couple of these notes here. These aren't related to the bend, but and then open E. Okay, so that's got nothing to do with the actual bends, but that'll work on your bends down here because it's definitely going to feel different here than it did up here. All right, so you want to work on this, and notice now, even though I'm playing that multiple riff over here, since these strings are really tough to bend if you're down like this, notice I am grabbing it. But the other advantage here is I don't have to bar my fingers because I'm using these open strings instead of a finger. Okay, so you're just going to do. All right, that's the 2nd part of the solo. 3rd part is this here. Something like that. So we're going to bend it to this note here. And this is another technique here. We have our little finger statically on that 15th fret on the E string, and you're bending on the B string. Just like that. See, that's how you bend that, all right? And you hold that note. Now, that's also in the Skinner. The Skinner does this too. All right, so as you can tell, a lot of these riffs are pretty common everywhere. So, and this is where we're going to take our bend on the B string way up here. So we just went from here and we went over to here. Okay. Now this next one's kind of interesting. We got to move our hand a little bit for this one. So we're going to go 12 on the B, all on the E string. 12, 15, and then on 17, you bend it up, back to 15, and then a pull off 15 to 12, all on the E string. All right, and then there's this little. I love this riff. This is one of my favorite ones. So we're up here on 17 on the B, okay, and then on 19 on the B. So you can tell we're going way up here. Whole step bend, and we stop that note, right? Right, see how I did that? So we're bending down to the original note, down to fret, what is that? Fret 17 to 20 on the B, to 17 on the B, and then do a little pull off with your little finger. Or if you want to do a ring finger, but I prefer the little finger. All right, and then the last part of this riff is this. Wait, let me try this again. All right, so this one here, we're going to do a bend. This now, you notice there's going to be a pointer finger bend. Let me show you. That's why I included this one. So you're going to bend this on, let's see, we're on 17 on the B, and 19 on the B, 20th fret on the B, another bend. So you're bending up, stopping the note. Notice I'm bringing that pick down to stop that note as you bring the hand down. You don't want to hear the notes descend. And then I'm there's a little bit of a pull or push, I should say, with the pointer finger right here on the 17th fret. This could be a little bit tough to do because now you don't have the other fingers supporting you. But again, if you remember the concept of having the wrist do your work, grabbing some leverage with the back hand on the back of the neck, and the thumb up here. And then right here, we hit that, what is that, 19th fret. And back on the 17th fret on the B string. Okay? So that I know it's a lot. Again, depends on where you are in this thing, okay? You can always go back to the beginning of the video. I know especially on YouTube because it'll be there for as long as YouTube's around. You can go back to the video. You can slow it down. That's what I love about YouTube is you can work on just one specific section at a time, one solo at a time. I'm sorry, one solo at a time. And then if it's a solo like we just did with the with Whole Lot of Love, that part, it's also specific sections. You work on each section. Don't try and jump all over the place and trying to get it and race to the end. You're just not. It's just going to sound like garbage. So you don't want that to happen. You want to be a good player. You want to sound really good. And I think that if you slow it down, take this in sections, you're going to really see some amazing results as long as you put the work in. Of course, you got to put the work in. Everybody's got to put the work in. But it'll really make you work on those bends and have them really, really sound good. Okay, and that's what you're after, right? If you want to play lead guitar, you know, most especially in rock and blues and country and pop and whatnot, these string bends are kind of a must. And even if you're playing acoustics, there's times where you're going to need to do a bend. It might not be as crazy as some of the stuff I showed here, but you still want to do that. Okay, so anyway, I hope this video will help make. I hope this video worked out for you. I hope this is going to be really good to help you become a better player, and with your solos. And I really am confident that if you put the work in, because this is what I teach. I teach stuff like this. But again, I gave a lot today. So again, like I said in the very beginning, take this in sections. If depending on where your level of expertise is, only do certain parts. Okay, so I can see that my internet's probably going to fail a little bit. So before I go off the air, I'm going to do it on my own, right? So thanks a lot for showing up, for enduring the little bit of a blackout we had in the middle. Sorry about that. Can't help it, but those things happen. I will be back with more. I don't know if it'll be next Wednesday. I will let you know. If you're not sure, I do have an email list. How do you get on it? Well, you join in one of the things on the below, and it'll get you on the list, and I'll tell you when the next live lesson is going to be. Or you can just, just put in a bell for notifications on my YouTube channel, and it'll let you know. Okay, so sure to get grabbed. Like I said, the 16 corner tab library down below. That's right. There's a third link down there. I got all kinds of stuff. I got lovely stuff for you guys. The other one is a freebie too. These are all free. Is guitar finger gymnastics. Oh yes, that would be really good if you're trying to get the finger strength here and the dexterity. You want to join the guitar finger gymnastics. I will get that link put on after we're done here. Like literally, once I turn this thing off, I'm going to go in and put those links in there. So hopefully this will work out for you. Hey, Ron, I'm glad this worked out for you. I appreciate it. Hey, let me know how this worked out for you. Seriously, put it out in the comments, either on Facebook or on YouTube, depending on where you're watching this. Let me know how it worked out for you. Let me know if you got any questions, or even more so, let me know what else you want me to show. Maybe there's something more on the lead guitar, on string bending, and pull-ups and techniques. I don't know what it is, whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. The internet's going to fail. I know it will. It's coming soon. So I'll catch you next time. I just love talking with everybody. I love showing this stuff, as you can tell. So I'll talk to you next time. Until then, rock on.